Picture this, it's Thursday night. Sarah is sitting on her couch at 9 p.m., exhausted after another 12-hour day. She just closed her laptop after finishing a presentation that's due tomorrow morning. She's been promoted 3 times in 6 years. She makes $92,000 a year now, more than she ever thought she'd make, more than her parents ever made. But she can't remember the last time she took a full weekend off. She can't remember the last time she didn't check email before bed. She can't remember the last time she felt like her life belonged to her. Sarah is working harder than she's ever worked. She's earning more than she's ever earned. And somehow, she feels less free than when she was making $45,000 and actually had time to live. She thought the system worked like this: work hard, get promoted, make more money, gain more freedom. Instead, she worked hard, got promoted, made more money, and lost every ounce of freedom she had. Welcome to the system trap. And Sarah just realized she's been stuck in it for 6 years. My name is Evan, and I've spent the last year tracking why people who do everything right, who work harder than everyone around them, who climb the ladder exactly like they're supposed to, end up feeling more trapped than the people who stayed at the bottom. If you've ever been promoted and somehow felt more stuck, if you've ever gotten a raise and lost more time than you gained in money, if you've ever looked at your calendar and realized you don't control a single hour of your own week, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to show you is why the system is designed to trap you the moment you start succeeding, and why working harder makes the trap tighter, not looser. Here's what makes Sarah's situation so brutal. She did everything they told her to do. She went to a good college. She got a business degree. She started as a coordinator making $45,000. She worked late. She volunteered for extra projects. She made herself indispensable. After 2 years, she got promoted to specialist. $58,000. She was thrilled. She worked even harder to prove she deserved it. 2 years later, senior specialist, $72,000. She was on track. She was winning. Last year, she made manager, $92,000. She doubled her salary in 6 years. On paper, Sarah's career is a success story. LinkedIn would call her a high performer. Her parents are proud. But here's what nobody tells you about climbing the ladder. Every rung you climb adds weight to your back. When Sarah made $45,000 as a coordinator, she worked 40 hours a week, maybe 45 during busy periods. She had evenings, she had weekends, she had a life. Her job was simple. She coordinated things. If something went wrong, it wasn't her problem. Her manager dealt with it. She clocked out at 5:30 and forgot about work until the next morning. Now Sarah makes $92,000 as a manager. She works 55 to 60 hours per week. She's on call 24/7. She checks email at 6 a.m., at 9 p.m. on Saturday afternoons. When something goes wrong, it's her responsibility. When her team misses a deadline, she's the one in the meeting explaining why. When a client is unhappy, her phone rings. She has 3 direct reports. Their problems are her problems. Their mistakes are her mistakes. Their sick days mean she covers their work. Sarah traded 15 hours per week and complete mental freedom for an extra $47,000 per year. Let me show you the math that Sarah didn't calculate before she took that promotion. At $45,000 working 45 hours per week, Sarah was making about $19.23 per hour. Her life was hers after 5:30 p.m. At $92,000 working 58 hours per week, Sarah makes $30.50 per hour. That looks like a win. Her hourly wage went up 59%. But that's not the whole picture, because Sarah's 58 hours per week doesn't count the hidden hours. She thinks about work constantly now. She wakes up at 3 a.m. stressing about her team's performance. She spends Sunday nights dreading Monday mornings. She can't fully disconnect on vacation because she's still the manager, and problems still happen. Let's add the real hours. 58 hours of active work plus 10 hours of mental energy consumed by work stress and planning. That's 68 hours per week that work owns. At 68 hours per week, 52 weeks per year, that's 3,536 hours consumed by her job annually. $92,000 divided by 3,536 hours equals $26.02 per hour. Sarah's real hourly rate went up only 35%, not 59%, and she lost complete control of her entire life to get it. But it gets worse, because Sarah also increased her expenses when she got promoted. When she made $45,000, she lived in a modest apartment for $1,200 per month. She drove a 2015 Honda Civic. She packed lunch most days. When she got promoted to $72,000, she thought she deserved an upgrade, better apartment in a nicer neighborhood, $1,800 per month. Nicer car, $450 per month payment. When she hit $92,000, she upgraded again, $2,400 per month apartment, leased a new car for $550 per month, started going to nicer restaurants because she's too busy to cook. Her lifestyle expenses increased by $1,800 per month. That's $21,600 per year. So her actual financial gain from $45,000 to $92,000 is not $47,000. It's $47,000 minus $21,600 in lifestyle inflation. Real gain, $25,400 per year. She traded 23 hours per week of her life and complete mental freedom for $25,400. That's $1,104 per lost hour of freedom per year, about $21 per week per hour lost. Sarah is paying $21 per week to lose each hour of freedom, and she calls this a promotion. This is the system trap. The system gives you more money, but it costs you more time and freedom than the money is worth, and you don't realize it until you're so deep that you can't get out. Here's why Sarah can't just quit and go back to a coordinator role at 40 hours per week. She's locked into the $2,400 apartment with a year-long lease. She's locked into the $550 car payment for 3 more years. She's locked into the lifestyle that requires $92,000 to maintain. If she took a step back to a $60,000 role with better hours, she couldn't afford her current life. She'd have to move. She'd have to downgrade her car. She'd have to admit to everyone that she failed. The system trapped her by making her dependent on the income that costs her freedom. And here's the really insidious part. Sarah's manager knows this. The company knows this. They promoted Sarah knowing that once she upgraded her lifestyle, she'd be stuck. Managers who make $92,000 don't quit. They can't afford to. They're too dependent on the salary. They're trapped by their own success. When Sarah's manager piles on extra work, Sarah says yes, because she can't afford to lose this job. When her manager asks her to work Saturday, Sarah does it, because she can't risk being seen as uncommitted. Sarah's promotion didn't give her more power. It gave her company more power over her. This is how the system works. It promises you freedom through success. It delivers dependence through success. Let me show you how the trap gets tighter the higher you climb. Sarah's colleague, David, has been at the company for 12 years. He's a senior director making $155,000. David works 65 to 70 hours per week. He's on his phone during family dinners. He takes calls during his kids' soccer games. He hasn't taken a real vacation in 4 years. David's mortgage is $4,200 per month. His car payments are $850 per month. His kids go to private school at $2,400 per month per kid. 2 kids, $4,800 per month total. David's lifestyle costs require $155,000. If he loses this job or steps back to a lower role, his entire life collapses. David cannot afford to quit. David cannot afford to set boundaries. David cannot afford to say no. David owns a $750,000 house and makes $155,000 per year. And David has zero freedom. The system promoted David into a prison that looks like success. Sarah is on the same track. In 6 more years, if she keeps getting promoted, she'll be where David is, making great money, completely owned by the system. This is what nobody tells you about corporate success. The higher you climb, the less free you become. When you're at the bottom, you can quit any time. You can take a different job. You can move cities. You can change careers. Your lifestyle is cheap enough that you have options. When you're at the top, you can't do any of that. Your mortgage is too high. Your car payments are too big. Your lifestyle requires the exact income you're making. You're trapped. The people at the bottom have freedom through low cost of living. The people at the top have captivity through high cost of living. The system inverts the whole thing. Success doesn't buy freedom. Success sells your freedom. Here's the part that Sarah didn't see coming. The more successful she got, the less control she had over her own time. When Sarah was a coordinator making $45,000, she could take a sick day without guilt. She could say no to after-hours work. Her manager couldn't demand much from her because she wasn't paid much. Now that Sarah makes $92,000 as a manager, she can't take a sick day without feeling like she's abandoning her team. She can't say no to after-hours work. Her manager demands constant availability because she's paid well. The money didn't buy her leverage, the money bought her obligation. She thought earning more would give her power to set boundaries. Instead, earning more created expectations that she can never meet boundaries. Her manager says things like, well, you're a manager now, this is what managers do. Her team expects her to be available because that's what their last manager did. The system normalized complete availability as the price of the salary. Sarah's salary isn't compensation, it's the price the company pays to own her time completely. A 2023 study from Harvard Business Review found that managers and directors report 40% less control over their schedules than individual contributors despite making 60% to 100% more money. The higher you go, the less your time belongs to you. Sarah is making $92,000 and has less control over her week than when she made $45,000. This is the system trap. You climb toward freedom and arrive at captivity. Now here's where this gets even worse. Sarah's identity is now tied to her title. When she was a coordinator, her job was what she did, not who she was. She could quit and find another coordinator role easily. No big deal. Now she's a manager. That's part of her identity. Her LinkedIn says manager. Her email signature says manager. She tells people at parties she's a manager. If she steps back to a non-manager role, that feels like failure. That feels like moving backward. That feels like admitting she couldn't handle it. The system trapped her psychologically. It made the title part of her self-worth. Now she can't leave without feeling like she's losing part of herself. This is how the system locks you in. It convinces you that your job title is your identity. Once that happens, you can't step back without experiencing an identity crisis. Sarah is trapped financially by her lifestyle costs and psychologically by her title. She's completely stuck. And here's what's really brutal. Sarah works harder than everyone around her. She's a top performer. She does everything right. And working hard is exactly what made the trap tighter. If Sarah had been a mediocre employee, she wouldn't have gotten promoted. She'd still be a coordinator making $45,000 and working 40 hours per week with her evenings free. But Sarah was excellent, so the system promoted her, and promoted her, and promoted her, until she had no freedom left. The system punishes excellence with captivity. Sarah's friend Rachel works at the same company. Rachel is fine at her job. Not great, not terrible. Rachel has been a specialist for 8 years. She makes $62,000. Rachel works 40 hours per week. She takes her vacation days. She doesn't check email after 6 p.m. Her manager doesn't expect more from her because she's just a specialist. Rachel makes $30,000 less than Sarah. Rachel has 18 hours per week more free time than Sarah. Rachel has complete mental freedom when she's off work. Who's actually wealthier? Sarah with her $92,000 and zero free time, or Rachel with her $62,000 and a full life? The system tells you Sarah is winning. The reality is Rachel is free and Sarah is trapped. Let me show you what Sarah should have done differently, because there is a way to navigate the system without getting trapped. When Sarah got her first promotion from $45,000 to $58,000, she should have kept living like she made $45,000. Keep the same apartment, keep the same car, keep packing lunch. Bank the entire $13,000 raise. When she got promoted to $72,000, still live like she makes $45,000. Bank the $27,000 difference. When she got promoted to $92,000, still live on $45,000. Bank $47,000 per year. After 6 years of this, Sarah would have banked approximately $180,000 plus investment returns. Let's call it $220,000 total. With $220,000 saved and low living expenses, Sarah would have had options. She could step back to a lower stress role, she could take a sabbatical, she could quit and figure out what she actually wants to do. Instead, Sarah increased her lifestyle every time she got promoted. She has maybe $30,000 saved. She's completely dependent on her $92,000 salary. She has no options. The system wants you to increase your lifestyle when you get promoted. That's how it traps you. The moment you inflate your lifestyle to match your salary, you lose all freedom. Lifestyle inflation is the lock on the system trap. If you avoid lifestyle inflation, you can't be trapped. Here's the strategies Sarah should use now to escape. First, freeze her lifestyle immediately. No more upgrades, no nicer apartment, no new car. Lock her expenses at their current level. Second, calculate her minimum viable lifestyle. What's the absolute minimum she needs to live on if she had to? That number is her freedom number. Once she has enough saved to cover that for 1 year, she has options. Third, save aggressively. Every dollar above her minimum viable lifestyle goes into savings. Target 1 year of expenses saved. For Sarah, her minimum viable lifestyle is probably $48,000 per year. She makes $92,000 after taxes, around $68,000. She can save $20,000 per year. In 2.4 years, Sarah has $48,000 saved. She can now quit. She can step back to a lower paying, lower stress role. She has freedom. But Sarah needs to make this her goal. Most people never do this. They keep spending every raise and wonder why they feel trapped. Fourth, Sarah needs to separate her identity from her title. She's not a manager. She's a person who currently works as a manager. That's a huge difference. If she can internalize that, stepping back doesn't feel like failure. It feels like a strategic choice. Fifth, Sarah needs to optimize for freedom, not income. Every decision should be filtered through one question. Does this give me more freedom or less freedom? Taking the next promotion to senior manager at $115,000 but 70-hour weeks, less freedom. Don't take it. Staying at manager at $92,000 but negotiating remote work to eliminate commute, more freedom. Do it. Moving to a lower cost of living city where $92,000 goes further, more freedom. Do it. The system wants you to optimize for income and title. Those are traps. Freedom is the only thing worth optimizing for. Here's what Sarah's life could look like if she escapes the trap. She steps back to a senior specialist role, $68,000 salary, 40-hour weeks, no management responsibility, no after-hours stress. She moves to a lower cost of living city, $1,400 rent instead of $2,400. $300 car payment instead of $550. Her expenses dropped to $42,000 per year. She saves $26,000 per year after taxes. She has her evenings, she has her weekends, she has her mental energy. She can think about things other than work. In 5 years, she has $130,000 saved. She can take a year off to figure out what she actually wants to do with her life. She has options. Sarah makes less money than she did as a manager. Sarah is wealthier than she's ever been. Because wealth isn't money, wealth is freedom. The system trap inverted the definition of wealth. It told you wealth is income and title. Real wealth is time and freedom. Sarah spent 6 years climbing toward the wrong thing. She can spend the next 5 years climbing toward the right thing. But most people never make this shift. They stay trapped until they retire at 65. They trade 40 years of freedom for a title and a salary that owns them. Let me tell you how this trap works at scale, because it's not just Sarah, it's millions of people. The system is designed to identify high performers like Sarah and promote them until they're trapped. Companies don't want people to have options. People with options can leave. People with options can say no. So companies promote you, encourage lifestyle inflation, tie your identity to your title, and trap you. Once you're trapped, they can extract maximum productivity from you. You'll work 60-hour weeks because you need the money. You'll say yes to unreasonable demands because you can't risk losing the job. The system isn't broken. The system is working exactly as designed. It's a trap. And it's very good at trapping the people who work the hardest. Sarah worked harder than everyone, so she got trapped faster than everyone. The way to beat the system isn't to work harder. It's to refuse to be trapped. Keep your lifestyle cheap. Save aggressively. Separate your identity from your work. Optimize for freedom, not income. If you do those things, you can take the system's money without falling into the system's trap. You can get promoted and not inflate your lifestyle. You can make $92,000 and live like you make $45,000. You can bank the difference and buy your freedom. That's the only way to win. Take the money, refuse the trap. Sarah didn't know this 6 years ago. She knows it now. The question is whether she'll act on it or stay trapped. Most people stay trapped. They're too afraid to step back, too attached to the title, too dependent on the income. Sarah could be different. She could calculate her freedom number, hit it in 2 years, and step back to a life that's actually hers. Or she could keep climbing, keep getting promoted, keep increasing her lifestyle, keep losing freedom. In 10 years, she'll either be free or she'll be Senior Director David, making $155,000 and completely owned by the system. The choice is hers, but the clock is ticking. Every year she stays in the trap gets tighter. If this video made you realize you're in the system trap, hit that like button and subscribe. I break down the systems designed to trap you and show you how to escape. New videos every week showing you the path to actual freedom, not just higher income. I'll see you in the next one.